Hey everybody, Tony here. It is now turn 4, April 20th to 23rd, 1940. But before I get started with this, I have been playing, I think, very, very poorly up to this point. There's a lot of things that have been escaping me, and I think part of it is I'm trying to rush through it too quick. I had completely forgotten that at the end of turn 2, the Germans have 30 Ju-52s, and 18 of them were supposed to be withdrawn. As the result of an oversight in turn 3, I had returned a group of 6 transports from Norway and put them off the map so that I would remember that they couldn't fly again. But I unintentionally grabbed them and sent them to Bergen up here, carrying supplies. The idea was that they were going to airdrop there, but they should not have been able to move. So the fortunate thing is no actual supplies were harmed in the filming of this air mission. No supplies were dropped. The only downside is that had I only had the 6 available instead of the 12, or if I had only taken the 6 rather than the 12, I probably would not have flown that mission and allowed them to get shot up like that. But it is what it is. And as of right now, I am going to take 12 from Germany and quickly withdraw them. And there are 6 more up here already in Norway. Right, I've already pulled them off the airfield, and I'm going to withdraw those. Now, by the end of turn 5, I will have to withdraw 9 more. But that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there in Germany. Let's just go ahead and stack these up. And then there are 2 more here in this stack, but the Aalborg airfield is currently shut down as a result of bombing from Bomber Command. I'm going to take this and move it off map with that. So this turn, the 1st Mountain Division becomes available for deployment. Or excuse me, the 2nd Mountain Division. The 1st Mountain Division becomes available next turn, but there is a victory point penalty associated with using that. And there is also a motorized brigade that is available, and 7 more bombers. So we put those 7 bombers here. They're all in Germany. And then there are, oops, wrong one. Some more float planes available in Silt, which is off map. And those I need to bring into play as quickly as possible. I keep forgetting about them. You know, they can use a port as an air base. But I think I had figured out that 1, 2, 3, 4. That Silt was like around right there somewhere at one time. So the other thing that I'm going to be trying is that I have been breaking all these regiments down into battalions, and I think that they've been taking very heavy losses while shipping. I mean, there's a trade-off. If you ship an entire regiment and it gets sunk, you lose 3 battalions. If you ship the 3 battalions and one gets sunk, well, you've only lost the 1 battalion. But like in this particular case right here, I'm shipping practically an entire division. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so trying to get those across, well, the sunken transit roll, you get 12 of them as opposed to 4. So I was routinely losing 3 or 4 battalions every anti-shipping roll, or at the beginning of every turn. So I'm going to try to ship these across in regiments, just with the thought of having fewer rolls to face. I don't even remember what I was. Oh yeah. So in the staging, the 2nd Mountain Division is ready to go, along with their headquarters and 1 regiment of the 11th Motorized Brigade and 2 trucks. Next turn, I'm going to have to start throwing some supply in there, but it's getting to a point to where there's very little left in Germany to send over anymore. So this unit here is going to land in Drammen. These 3 are going to land in Narvik, and these 3 are going to land at Oslo. So first we check for our anti-shipping rolls. 1, 2, 3, and there it is. So we lose an entire regiment. And we have the truck, the artillery going to Oslo, and that came close. So I still lose 3 battalions, although in an indirect manner. So I do believe that this game, the casualty rate is much higher than historical. So let's go put this sunken transit, and that's 3 more battalions. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more points for the Allies. Let me put this there. Shipping across here is is rougher than it looks. It seems like it will be a simple thing, but it never turns out that way. So let's see. So what do we want to do as far as movement? I mean, this unit is no longer. Oh yeah, it still is. Has to wait till next turn. So it's actually flip. It is actually has no combat strength left whatsoever. Has half movement, but it can still move 1 hex, and it's just gonna get the heck out of there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to move out of Narvik and start heading towards Stavanger. More. And let's see. 5. 6, 12, 21 to 5, so 4 to 1. So actually we're gonna take this back and we're gonna move on Christiansson. 2, 3, 1. 2, and we're going to interdict that hex side. Other diction. This one down from here. One, two, three. 2, 3, 4. So actually those two can go around, and we'll just put an interdiction marker there because from their locations this one could have gone all the way around and into there, and that one could have moved over and gone into there. So we've got 3 hex sides, but we still have one that's wide open. So they could conceivably escape, but we're trying to push them away from Stavanger. So this group is going to move in, and when these units retreated, instead of going that way, I probably should have gone out through the forest. I keep forgetting that you can retreat practically any direction in this game. So these 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Back up one and put that there. And then we're just going to move all the artillery in because that is the strongest configuration. Okay, so to continue to push up the East Valley. 1, 2, 3. Not quite enough to get across the river there, and we gotta flip these back. Not that they'll be able to stop anybody. Four, 6. Let's see. have here that's available? One, two, 4, 8. I'm going to send the 181st Division off to Bergen. Just going to move along. 2, 3, and they're going to grab a supply on the way. One, 2, 3, 4, and 3. These are going to push along behind, and as the border expands, it makes the valley wider. They'll be able to slip out and hopefully break out. But we've got to attack. We've got to attack. 3. 1, 2, 3, 8, 3. And we'll go ahead interdict that hex side. 3, 6, 1, 10 to 5, 2 to 1. Oh, they can't get around there. They can't get across. So, how far along did these move? 2, 3, 4. And we will so these hop the train. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think that's everything there and everything there. Up here, Trondheim, only 1. Four, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they're barely in supply from that. Let's see, so they've only got one. I gotta get more in there. I have not put down. Okay, so before I move on to the air phase, I'm going to take a look at what air units I have available. Those can definitely make it. And those, so I'm gonna move them to there. They have already used the 8 movement points there, but 12. So they can get to there barely. There are 2 of those, or 6 of those. 4, 5, 6. So how far is it from Kiel to Trondheim? It's 41, so that's just barely out of range. So that's not gonna be possible. Actually, let's take that back in and let's look at the range. See, you can barely reach Kristiansand and Kjevik airfield. Anything beyond that is extended range. So the question is, what do we want them to carry, if anything? So there, really? 40 to there, 41. Okay, so first thing I need to do is check and see whether that's even legal. And so the answer is no. What I was planning here is not legal because this hex was not last controlled by the Germans. So, okay, so what do we have available? That is air transportable. So we are going to fly the 214th headquarters over right now we are one transport short to use that. So it's just going to have to stay. These we are going to break down the 112th Artillery Regiment and start flying it in. It's going to be going with those transports. And we're going to take another one and we're going to fly it out of Denmark. It's going to fly with these. So for now, Trondheim will have to be happy that they've got supplies. Let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So next turn they'll be back in supply. Meanwhile, up to the far north, there's really not a lot that can go on because we don't have a tax supply. But I've got to try to get actually these are going to leave that one. We're gonna take that and so I think that is all the movement for this turn. So next we move on to the air phase. Okay, so I can't land anything at this airfield because technically the Germans have not taken control of it yet. But this group can land here and land that there with them because the Germans do control that port. There is one thing that I need to check though real quick. Okay, so staying within the confines of the rules. Just take a from there to there is 28, and they have a range of 37. So these air units can fly to Trondheim and land because they are float planes, so they can land at the port. So this is where the whole thing gets kind of weird and really doesn't make any sense. So the British have the battleship Interdiction that has 6 points AA in it, or with it, available in the hex that Trondheim is in. But yet the Valiant can't fire AA at the transports coming in. And if we go to Rule 14, it says anti-aircraft may only be executed against enemy air units in the hex those units occupy. Furthermore, anti-aircraft fire may be executed only against mixed waves, never escort or interceptor waves. And I actually should not have read all that. I meant to jump down here. Naval units may only fire against air units bombing ships, ports, or allied supply bases. Of which this is none. So transports flying in, I guess that the crew of the Valiant just stand there and wave at them as they come in and land. So the question is, do we really want to take the third? I think for the moment, we're going to swap this out and bring in the third mountain headquarters. And we are going to fly this group to that airfield there. Let me put them off here so that I can't make the mistake of grabbing them on accident. So we will, there's 3 air units there. We will go ahead and land that. And what do I need to do? So I need to, that's 8 to 3. So we're going to use dive bombers on those. And we are going to use these bombers on Bergen to shut that air base down and shut the Royal Air Force out of grab those. These will be flying at extended range, so we try to shut them out of Bergen. Let's go ahead and throw that with the rest of those. And the idea is to shut down the Bergen airfield. And the question I have is, do we want these to step up? Now there's really nowhere that they can step up to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That airfield's only at half capacity. 3, 4, 5, 6. So when it opens up, you should be able to get some more transports in there. So, quickly taking a look from Trondheim to Narvik is 29 hexes, so they have plenty to make it. And this is another one of those really kind of weird rules, I think, anyway. So those I can't do anything with. These are just going to sit tight for the moment. Let's zoom in. Dang it. Over here. 777. So, again, we refer to Rule 14 for naval units may only fire against air units bombing ships, ports, or allied supply bases, which they're not doing any. So, again, the British just stand there and wave and take pictures or something. Ground units may fire against any mixed wave except one that is bombing naval units. But since they don't have any AA, that's going to be kind of hard to do. So again, the British could intercept German bombers here. They are within range. Zoom out here. The skuas have a range of 22, and I think, if I remember correctly, the Blen heavy fighter has a range of 26. So from there to there, that's 20 plus 1 hex to Hatston Field is 21. So they could intercept if they wanted. The problem is that with the system, and maybe if the next time that I play this game, I'll play using the actual Europa air rules or air combat, because, like I said, I'm not a fan of the way that this is set up. In my opinion, it heavily favors the Germans because they have so many bombers. And while I do not expect the Royal Air Force to completely dominate the skies, I think that they should do better than they're allowed to. And these go back to Copenhagen, because they're not supposed to be there. So back you go. So these are all flying at extended range. Now I have to, now that I've done that, I need to break them into groups of 3. 1, 2, These are flying at normal. 1, 2, 3. We just got to figure out how many shots we get to take at that airfield, and there will end up being a lot of hits, and it will be shut down for quite some time. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then these will be coming in on their own. And so we get with 5 strategic bombing factors, they hit on a 4, 5, or 6. So we get 4 rolls real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, resulting in 2 hits. Move that aside. Please airfield hit increase. And then 1, 2, 1, 2, both misses. And this would be 5, 10, 15. Because it's reduced to 1/3. Or excuse me. 10, so that'd be 3. Roughly 3. And it misses. And here we have 1, 2, 3 at 7, 5 to 8. So 1, 2, 3, and all 3 hit. 3, 4, 5. Then we have 5, 5, 7. So 5 hit, 5 hit, 7 hit, 3 6s in a row. 2, 3. So that is going to be shut down for quite some time. So let's take these and fly them back to Fort Able. And we got 6 more that we can put there. One, 2, 4. So 6 more. Slide across, and then here 2, 3, we can put 6. No, we can't put any there for now. And I'll put any for there now. Okay, so let's clear that. This is like 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 6, 9, 12. 15. So these will go back to Copenhagen. We're going to do this in a manner that is grab both of these and drag them down here. Those there, and those in Kiel. So, your return phase comes combat, sequence of play, movement, air phase. Okay, so according to this, a return phase is at the end of the air phase. So then these two hit on a 5 or a 6, trying to disrupt the 2 OP. And when one of them succeeds and disrupts it, we're going to pull these out, send them back to base. So here's where things get a little hinky, because the rules state, let me see if I can find it really quick. So Rule 12C4 states that a transport may transport a company and battalion-sized ground units or supply depots from a friendly controlled airbase to another friendly controlled airbase. The transport may fly up to its printed range, undergo any air-to-air combat from enemy interceptors, land, disembark cargo, load cargo, if any, and then fly to another airbase within range during the air return sequence. So based on the way that this is written, I would say that a transport can land, disembark a unit, load another unit, and fly off. In effect, making it a 2-for-1 transport mission. So, but with the cargo that I'm carrying, there's no need for me to disembark it because this is not its intended destination, and there's nothing that it can load. So, but the whole thing's actually moot. But because of this, and let me jump over to this real quick to say 12D4, the HE-115 bomber may fly air transport and airdrop missions. For anybody who was curious why I was using bombers as a long-range transport, that is why. So, because they landed in Trondheim, they may now proceed up to Narvik, where currently there is nothing to stop them. They land there in order to reinforce the area, but there they have to wait until the next turn before heading back home. So the defenses are starting to get bolstered just a little bit, but this is going to take some time. And I probably should have started doing this from the very beginning, at least turn 2. This is a game that I am constantly evolving my plans on and always learning something new. So I could already have had another artillery piece up here, or at least the headquarters to start absorbing things so that I could get the rest of the division up there. So everything has gone back. So now we are ready for combat. We will just start here. The cavalry, they cannot retreat, and the headquarters cannot retreat. And here the infantry gun cannot retreat, and The infantry battalion can retreat, and unfortunately they decided that they're just gonna let the volunteers cover their escape. Now here, the mountain battalion can retreat, and the artillery can retreat. And of course, they're going to say, see you later. 9 and 12. Oh, wait a second. That 9th is overstacked because I'm allowed to have an artillery battalion, not an entire artillery regiment. God, it's been a long time since I made that mistake. So 12, 5, 12 and 3 is 15, and 5. So, okay, so the Norwegians have already retreated. These will be overstacked at the end of the turn. And so this one is overstacked as well. Dingbat. Okay, so here we have 8, 1.5. So 8 divided by 1.5 is 5 to 1. And we are in woods, which has no effect. And a 5. 5 to 1. 5 to 1 is a defender eliminated. So now the Germans have broken through German charts. Let's go, come on, over here. This would be a good time for exploitation to drive right through there. And then here we have 12 to 2, which is 6 to 1. And there are only woods there. 4 on 6 to 1. 6 to 1. 4 defender eliminated. So more Norwegians are eliminated. So this crew, this is going to be difficult for them next turn. Next turn, oops, and since they attacked, we have to expend our supply. Oops. One, two, three. So we're going to go ahead and delete. Then we're going to head back to the airbase to get more supply. And that pretty much brings the latest Allied turn. Oh, wait a second. Before we forget, they disembark cargo. Then return to base. Kiel is a port, so this float plane can land at that base. And now I believe that that is the end of the German turn. So it's a little slow going here, but they are starting to push through. And Narvik is starting to get reinforcements. And we corrected the mistake, although I did still make a couple of mistakes regarding going to disrupt the infantry. Still made a couple of mistakes regarding the stacking, which those are rookie mistakes. I have not made that mistake in I don't know how long. But again, it still shows that in some ways I am still playing very poorly. So anyway, on to the next turn, the Allies. Alright, the Allied half of the turn. The order of battle calls for 3 more Norwegian artillery battalions to arrive at each of the artillery stores, 1, 2, and 3, but since they are all under the control of the Germans, they are automatically eliminated. So that's 3 battalions short. The British also get the 15th Infantry Brigade, which they ship over to Namsos, along with an artillery battalion. Let me just go ahead and close that there. Or anti-aircraft battery, sorry. And commandos. So let's pull this open. 15th, the commandos, and there are still 3 supply bases available. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 have been placed. The Norwegian mobilization for turn 4. They get 2 battalions, 2 more battalions, and getting the word out that to the countryside that the country is under attack is going really slow. So turn 3 is what, 3? 1, 2, 3. So they have 2, 1 at 3 and 1 at 11, both of which are controlled by the Germans. So there's 3. And the 11th is up at Andelsness here. There's the 11th. So they both go into the prison camp. Oops. Let's reopen the region. So 11th captured third, captured, making the job for the Germans a wee bit easier. So let's start up here all the way at the north. Now that so the French can start moving down, and that's going to cost them 3, 4, 5, and they can move into attack position there. Take a look at the 6 and 7. So 7th Brigade is 246. 246, so both of them are about the same, so it really doesn't matter. I'll move the 7th since it's 0, 1, 3, 4, 5. So the Allies are going to try and move a bit closer, or a step closer to actually attacking Narvik. So maybe if I had been just a wee bit smarter, I would have actually pushed out here. Well, no, because then that would have completely exposed Narvik to attack. This one here is going to ship to Bodo, or naval sea lift to Bodo. 1, 3, 4. So that is just north of Moshan. And then Morana. Moving on down to Namsos. So that's the new stuff. This unit has to step out momentarily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 3. Actually, this one didn't even need to step out at all. So now we're going to bring the Furious and company over here towards Namsos. Put it just offshore. So it'd take quite the gamble to move British units in. Oh yeah, I deleted that? Hang on a second, because that's not right. I don't think that that's right. Okay, so I just consulted with the previous game, and it's just as I suspected. This should be at 2. So let's do that. Let's put that back in. But the Furies is still going to be here. Move them into the mountains. Move the 148th forward. 24th Guards, and put that in there, and we need to move the 5th. One, two. The cavalry needs to move out of there because they are overstacked. And it's been overstacked for a couple turns, so I'm going to disrupt them for this turn. Now, the 4th has nothing in it. It's empty. Going to pull into there. Retreat to there. And I already know that the Germans are trying to get around them. So we're going to try and keep our little wedge front here going. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. To defend the 7th. And that's really pretty much it. It's just jockeying for position, really. Trying to set up the Trondheim area for as strong a defense as they could possibly make to keep the Germans from getting to their forces at Trondheim. But what can well, we can fly Bomber Command in. Oops. To try and add some more hits to Aalborg. Yeah, there is no... So 4, 6, 10... and 4, 8, 11... So we have 18 points of AA, so 1 to 1. You get a 1, oh, that's going to hurt. 2 kills, 1 abort. 1 abort, and the second one is 5-0. So, as they fly at extended range, they have 1 shot with 6 points. And they hit. But they lose 1 point or 2 points for each allied air unit destroyed. So that's 4 points back down to 23. But because these are replaced every time, they go back to Bomber Command. Let's see something just for giggles. Nope. Now, we'll take a quick look at so add 1, that is 22. So this is exactly where the skuas need to make it to. And they are flying at normal distance. So they're going to try to disrupt the 214th Artillery. 2-4. So combined they have a 5R6. So separately they have a 5R6. So they're going to bomb separately. So the first one, 3 miss. Second one, 3 miss. It was worth a try. Actually, I just thought of something. Let's zoom out. We have 8C there. Range 15. So actually, this can intercept. Let's pull out the. So that means that the blend would be escorting. Let's close this. Plus. So when they fire at each other, they're both at a 1-to-1. So let's go interceptor first. 4 miss. British 5 miss. So this moves on. It is 1-to-1 versus 1-to-2. So the Germans first 6, 4, 5, 6, and then the skuas will probably roll over and get a 1. No, 4. So at this point, the British could abort their mission at this point, but let's verify the rule. So this is another area where the Narvik rules are really kind of squishy. The Europa rules basically state that interceptors get 1 shot. They can go in and they can attack escorts, or they can bypass the escort screen and attack the main body. But once they're done with the escorts, they don't move on to the main wave. Or at least, before I make a blanket statement saying that that's the way it is with all Europa, that's the way it is with most of the games that I've played. But this one allows you to attack the escort wave, which there was no effect, and then move on to the mixed wave. But I find no rule, nothing that says if this continues until one side or the other decides to abort. It just ends with, at the end of combat resolution, the bombing player may voluntarily abort any of his air units. It does not say that the sequence begins again. So I'm going to say that the Germans took their shot, failed to achieve anything. We'll put them back in here. And that the skuas went on and bombed their targets, and they missed. Right? Yeah, they missed. So, take all these. Gonna put them back at Hatston Field. And up here, we're going to take the swordfish. And here's one of the differences between this version of Narvik and the old 1980 version. In the 1980 version, the aircraft carriers were constantly arriving and leaving, and arriving and leaving, and arriving and leaving. And in this game, it appears that they just arrive and then they stay, and once they leave, they're done. They don't constantly come and go. So the two swordfish, each one's going to attack one. So this is going to attack the mountain division and missed. And the other one, or not the mountain regiment, the other one's going to attack the infantry regiment, and it missed. So the Allies took their shots with their air units. They were unable to accomplish anything, and next turn the Furious is likely going to head north, probably out here, and they are going to harass the Germans in Narvik in preparation for an attack. Meanwhile, the Norwegians still approach from the south, and if nothing else, they're going to set up a defense here. Oh, I never noticed that, but that little glacier side, that's going to forces you to go around. So the Norwegians are pushing forward to try to get to the Germans from the south. And here is your zoomed out look at Norway. The Norwegians still control this section, and here, and here. Right now, as of now, the Germans at Trondheim are surrounded, but they have supplies, so they're okay. So until next time, next turn, because that is the end of April 23rd, next turn will be the 24th to the 27th. And we're coming to the close of April. Anyway, take care, everybody. See you again soon.